the Chase Thomas Podcast, for people who have nothing but time to kill.
I'm not sure on that. I mean, obviously I know she's from Baltimore, but I'm not positive where she
went to, unless I'm wrong, I think she went to St. Francis, if I remember correctly. Yes, she went to St. Francis. Yeah. St. Francis, powerhouse in athletics in Baltimore. Ethan, you have this. I'm going to throw this to you first because I'm going to ask Ryan about which game in Neyland and which atmosphere for Neyland Stadium in particular was most effective for a game that Ryan covered. But for you have a great one for TBA at Food City Center and a game that you felt like the home crowd and the home environment swayed Tennessee, where you're like, oh, this is a crowd win. This is the crowd played a big role here. So on the hoop
I
side,
want to see this too, because Ethan noted that he had one earlier,
yes.
and I had one come to mind too. So I'm curious if it's the same one, because this would have been a game Ethan covered.
I'm gonna say two of them actually, because the one that I thought of originally, I think I found one that's even better than that one.
Oh,
the first one that was a sneaky underrated home environment was Arizona in December.
That's the one that I had too.
That is and you said a home environment that affected the game, and that's why I'm going to go with my next one, which I think affected the game a little more. But this Arizona game was the loudest I have ever heard TBA. The first when Tennessee went up like 17-2 or something like that, and Josiah had the dunk off of the steal from I don't know, Matherin or one of the Arizona players. TBA went completely ballistic. I mean, it was enough to where I was like, "Whoa, I got to stop what I'm doing and just look around because this is insane." You know, like this is a moment in Tennessee basketball history because it was that loud. It was crazy.
They were clearly rattled, early in the game by the crowd.
And
then also, I think the crowd kind of helped will Tennessee to win late. I mean, Arizona was clearly the better team that day. After that just start.
Yeah, it did feel like, because Arizona obviously came back. I don't know if they took the lead. I think they got it to 62-62. I don't think they ever actually took the lead, but it felt like Tennessee was going to lose that game. And like Ryan says, the crowd did kind of come alive. But I'd say
John Fulkerson game too.
It was a great John Fulkerson game. The other, the one that I thought of that I seriously think might be even better because of context. Tennessee goes to Rupp Arena, and they get just smacked because Kentucky shoots the very best they ever have in their entire history as a basketball program. And then on the return trip on February 15th, I'd say that's the second loudest I've ever heard TBA. Tennessee won that game. It was like 76-63. And Kentucky, I'll use a word that Ryan said earlier, was rattled, to say the least. They didn't score even close to like the first one. I mean, of course they were going to regress to the mean the entire time, but that one, that was a particularly loud one I remember as well. And while I was covering it, I remember thinking they don't look like they even want to be in the same building right now. And the Kentucky beat writers that had come down from Lexington, they found Josh Lane and I afterwards, and they were like, "That makes Rupp look like a kiddie factory." Like, you know, like that it was crazy loud. We did not expect it to be like that, and I don't know. I remember that sometimes, and it was impressive. Only second to the Arizona game, and how loud it was, just how raucous it was.
That was the game with the little brouhaha early in front of the Kentucky bench. I think like Zakai and the Kentucky strength coach were getting into it or something like that.
Is that yours? Who's your pick, Ryan?
Oh, the Arizona one was the one that came.
So that is your one too.
Okay. Yeah.
It was so loud.
Florida game this year, I think, was one too. It's up there. Just Tennessee being undermanned. It was not a willed Tennessee to win type thing, but I think, you know, Tennessee's played in a lot of ugly games at home that, and a lot of times are sluggish, and it's hard for the crowd to get in it just naturally. Like, I think that was one that every basket Tennessee made that entire game, every stop they got, the crowd was very, very loud, and it felt like the crowd knew or felt like that the team needed them to be very in that game to pull off that type of win, which is, again, such a college basketball result. I think it was the least amount of points Florida scored in the game all year by like 25. Yeah. I mean, it was just crazy to look back in hindsight of what Florida did and what a wagon that offense was to score whatever it was. I think 42, 44 points that day in Knoxville.
I'll throw one more in the ring. Also, I didn't cover this game, so I didn't count it because you said one that specifically we covered. 2019 Kentucky where Tennessee won late
Yep.
by 20 points. It was also very, very loud.
Same thing. Got
TBA.
smacked in Rupp
Yep.
a month earlier. I think that still might be. I think that still might be the loudest, the best environment of a. I wasn't covering it. That was my freshman year, but I think that one still might be the best environment, start to finish, of a game at TBA that I've been at.
I like it. What about on the football side of things?
Yeah, I'll say one. I mean, I think 22 Alabama is like the obvious answer.
But do you think that was Neyland swung that?
I think in a lot of ways, from the standpoint of two things, I would say. One, how many penalties Alabama had, how many pre-snap penalties Alabama had, which mattered a lot in a game where Alabama was moving the ball with a lot of ease, as was Tennessee. And I will give the crowd a lot of credit, and I do think Tennessee deserves credit too, because a lot of what the crowd does is just reaction to what happens. But when the game started swinging back in Alabama's favor in the third quarter, I thought the crowd remained really, really good in that game and didn't get tight like it had gotten in a number of games, in the past when Tennessee was trying to end streaks. So I would say that one, a more recent one, I feel like A&M 23, I think is a sneaky one.
I would say there's two games in 23, and A&M's one of them.
Yeah. Would you say South Carolina's the other?
South Carolina's the other one. I was in the building for the South Carolina one.
It's up there too.
Rattler was rattled. Like, that was one of those where they were getting, and that Kamal Hadden pick six was the loudest.
That was
outside
one of the loudest.
The Jalen Wright touchdown run was the loudest it's ever been inside Neyland for me. Like, South Carolina was completely overwhelmed. Like, that one was one where that just completely.
James Pierce had a little bit to do with Spencer Rattler being rattled too, but
no, but I mean, just it was just clear the black unis and Neyland
revenge factor.
Yeah, like they engulfed South Carolina. Like, it was just one of those where that offense had no chance against Tennessee that day. It didn't matter really what the offense did for Tennessee. They just had to do a little bit and they would win that game.
I have one more, but first I'll say this is the thought coming off the top of my head. Has any player swung their public image more in Tennessee history than Kamal Hadden with that pick six?
I think that whole year. I mean, that year
he was despised after the Florida.
He was.
Yeah.
He was good. You're right. He was good that year as a good coverage corner, but he also got hurt to end the season against Alabama, so he didn't play the full season.
True.
And I don't think people would remember him being good for that whole year nearly as much if it wasn't for the pick six.
Yeah.
I agree. I like that take.
He got booed that year.
Yes. After the Florida game. After the Florida game.
But it wasn't it the pre-A&M game? Was it pre-A&M?
It was whatever the next. I think UTSA.
No, it was Austin
P.
Game. It was Austin P. It was a nobody game. It was an Austin P game.
Yeah. I think it was UTSA.
Because I think they were wearing the smoky grays. I think it was the smoky gray game.
UTSA game was the one after Florida, though, which I think is when that would have happened.
I thought it was Austin P. Maybe I'm wrong. I guess it may have been after.
I don't know why it would have happened for Austin P. Was my thing. Nothing happened against Virginia to have prompted that.
Yeah, that was
some of the worst effort
luck.
ever seen.
Can we just go ahead and say collectively that was a bad luck?
Yeah, terrible look.
Terrible look.
And that was the next week, I believe, the South Carolina game.
Yeah,
and it was swung.
Settled
it
in.
was completely swung.
Also, Willie Martinez doesn't get enough credit, man. Kamal Hadden, he turned into a great player. Spring portal ad. I mean, then Gabe Giuliani. I mean, he turned into a really, really solid, important player for Tennessee. And yeah, I don't know. He makes it work, man. Colton Hood, excited. Jalen McMurray last year, top 100 PFF CB. Many forget. I don't know. There's a lot of those. And I think Tennessee's going to have several of those kind of games this year with how this offense might look and where the season might go. I think Oklahoma is one that stands out where that place is going to need to be electric for that one. And I mean, they might need it for Arkansas. Like, that might be one of those where to get up off the mat, depending on how the year is going, like Arkansas might need to be pretty deafening, overwhelming type deal for them to calm the storm.
Nicely done, nephew. The Chase Thomas podcast. Hell yeah.